Welcome back to Where in the World, where we have real conversations with young professionals about life and career, all while attempting to guess where in the world they are. We'll learn something new about our guests and what it's like to forge your own career path as a young professional. And when we say young, we're really talking about a state of mind. You'll learn by watching this web series that your career will take many dips and turns over time. And just when you think you've made it, you might have to scrap it all and start from scratch. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, and we ride the tide. I'm your host, Clary Johnson, and we're joined here today by Ramatu Kandakai, a brand and marketing consultant. In her most recent role, Ramatu served as a senior associate brand manager at SC Johnson, and in that role, she managed marketing for the Ziploc brand, where she crafted brand strategies such as the back to school activation, the Disney partnership, and new product innovations with global partners and agency partners. The big, hairy question we're asking today is, how can young professionals express their ideas in a way that's in alignment with their brand, their voice, their values, and their career aspirations? But before we jump in, let's do some housekeeping. This is a mini web series game show. The questions will range from standard interview like questions to more personal questions about our guests' careers. You'll notice we're both here today with different backgrounds, and in between questions, we'll each have an opportunity to guess where in the world the other person is. The first person to guess correctly wins. And our audience can also join in on the fun by asking for clues along the way. And we invite you to join us on this journey. So please join me in welcoming Ramatu.
I feel like there needs to be applause for that, Thank
You know what? I definitely need to get some sound effects. I have a few
Yeah.
in my arsenal that I haven't quite whipped out yet. But
Okay.
I think you're right. We're about 10 episodes in. Our last episode was the 10th episode. We're now on episode 11.
Okay.
And I think it's time that we add a little spice to it.
Yes, I think I could be the beginning of that. Okay, so yeah, I think some like sound effects, maybe some confetti. I think could work.
I love the ideas.
Yeah.
And first, I just want to thank you for joining the show. We met some time ago on Clubhouse, and I connected with you because you had some pretty profound things to say about professional development. And for anyone who's unfamiliar, Clubhouse is an audio only app. It's a platform that's similar to Twitter Spaces where people come together to have conversations. So I'm excited about this conversation about how we use our voices because it's so fitting. Ramatu, in addition to having more than 6,000 followers on LinkedIn, you're a content creator. And you're also a speaker and a part of the Adweek Executive Mentorship Program. So it's clear to me that you're the perfect person to provide some insight on how we can trust ourselves to speak up and speak out about the things we care about in pursuit of our career aspirations. We've talked a lot on the show about personal branding, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts on how we can go about building brands that are in alignment with our voice and our values. So let's begin with our most common interview question, and that is, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background.
So I will say, I always dread this question. I'll just be honest. So, just for anyone out there, it's one of those questions that always, can trip you up. But a little bit about me, I guess. I'll just say I'm a marketing nerd. And what I mean by that is I'm like, if you know me in any space I'm in, whether it's professional, whether it's social, I cannot turn my marketing brain off. And I've had the opportunity to really see how marketing has evolved in all the different roles that I've had. I've worked in the B2B space, in consulting and tech, and then got my master's degree. And then when I went into more entrepreneurial spaces, in the startup space, nonprofit, and then most recently worked, as you mentioned, at SC Johnson on Ziploc, and before that at Ernst & Young in the larger household name brands. So through that journey, I can really say that I understand, marketing is a pivotal and core part of any business, but it's something that is a tricky to navigate. So it's really about you always understanding what trends are out there, how to stay on top of it. And that's why I say I'm a marketing nerd, because I've enjoyed all my roles, and the challenges that have come with it. Also, a fun fact, I have lived in 4 cities, New York, Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., and currently Chicago. So that's been fun as well through my career, just being able to, live in different spaces and get different perspectives to really grow and evolve as a marketer.
Let's pause and let's get started. So, on this show, in between our questions, we like to guess where the other person is. So, I'm going to take the first guess.
Okay. I don't know if I'm blocking anything.
I heard you take a deep breath.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we're on a pathway. I'm trying to see the buildings in the back. It looks like maybe a city hall or a cathedral type building, and then on the left, the right, it looks like an observatory, but it's not an observatory. Oh man, this is going to be hard. This is going to be tough.
Okay. So yeah. Um,
Do you want to give me a clue about this place?
I feel like if I give you a clue, I feel like you have to ask you a question, then I'll say
Okay.
yes or no. We need to do process of elimination. That's how I was gonna go with yours.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just guess. I'm going to throw something out there. Are you in the United States?
Yes.
You are. Oh, okay.
I didn't want to answer that question. I feel like that makes it easier.
It does narrow it down quite a bit,
Yeah.
but there are 50 states and some territories in the United States, so
Okay.
we still have some work to do.
Okay. Okay. Is yours okay? I'm gonna try to guess. Yours definitely does not look like it's in the U.S. So I'm gonna ask: is it in the U.S.?
This is not in the United
Okay.
States.
Okay. Is it in? Because I'm thinking either like it's giving me like royal,
Mm.
like I'm thinking either like Paris or like the UK, like one of those places. Okay, I'm gonna say Paris. Is it in Paris?
You're correct.
Yes.
I made this too easy.
Sorry, I was like, I didn't think it was gonna be in Paris, but I've been to Paris twice, and
Okay.
it's giving me like Versailles, like it's giving those vibes. So that's
Okay.
why I went with
So
that.
you've been to Paris, but
Mhm.
you've never been to this place.
I don't know. I don't know what that place is.
Okay. Well, I will say you mentioned royal vibes, and the name of this place, while it's not exactly royalty, it does have some of that royal language in the name of this place.
I'm assuming the name is like has French and some like accent somewhere. I don't speak French. But yeah, that's my guess for now. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. Tell us a little bit more, if you can describe your career at this moment, and then paint a picture of the path that brought you here.
Definitely. So my career at this moment is really passion driven, and also really driven by the culture in whatever space I will be in. My career right now is, I say passion driven because I'm really big on personal branding, which I feel we'll get into later. And so my career encompasses that for, whatever I'm producing in any content space. And then in terms of cultural fit, I look at my career as something that's, like when you think about it, you're at work, but 40 plus hours a week. And so for me, it's it's really important for my career to mirror my interests, my passions, and also be enjoyable and ignite the fire that's within me. So I would say that's where I'm at in my career right now, and just like wanting to have fun. I think earlier in my career, I was really, really hung up on the brand name, making sure that I followed the paths that everyone said I had to follow. And now I'm kind of just like, I just want to be happy and have fun and like be in a fun culture and always learning. So that's kind of where I'm at now. how I got here, I will definitely say it was trial and error. Just always, being open to exploratory opportunities. I will say, like, being a marketer, being in spaces where people don't look like me is very challenging to get the roles that I wanted to get, even with the credentials. And so I always had to make do with what I could get. And so I always found myself striving to fit a box to get to the next level, because that's what I was told I needed to have that competitive edge. And now it's kind of like, okay, I've been in this rat race, or whatever you want to call it, for 10 plus years, and I know what I know. I'm confident enough as a thought leader in the marketing space. Now it's like, let's have fun. Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
It's helpful to hear you talk about how you've really laid that foundation, especially as a Black woman, where it can be so difficult, it can be so hard, and you're coming up on these obstacles and these challenges that are very unique to your own experience. And I know for myself, I didn't always have someone that I could talk to about what I was struggling with,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of it was kind of figuring it out as I go. So to get
Yeah.
to that other side and then to be able to look back and say, man, I've done the work and I've made it, you know, I think it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, no, I two things I really wanted to touch on with what you said. Definitely, mentorship, I think, is something that I didn't have. And I learned that I always envisioned mentorship to be something that someone would take me under their ranks and teach me what I need to learn, and that never happened. And what I did, though, was in some of the roles that I did have, whether it was a peer, whether it was someone, a lot of times it was a peer. But I think when we think about mentors, we always think someone has to be older, super established. But I learned that everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and you can learn, whether they're above you in seniority or at your level, even below. So for me, I found that I've learned a lot and gained tidbits of advice from different people I've worked with, and just through networking, and then just getting involved in different communities. But for me, I'm always like, oh, I wish I had a mentor to take me through the rings, and it never worked out that way. But if I took all the advice that I've learned over the years and put it in a book, that would be like the ideal mentor, if that makes sense. And then in terms of just, crafting your own path, and with, when you're in spaces where you're the only person that looks like you, um, it is really challenging. And sometimes it's about, as I said, to just making do with what you have and creating your own identity. Sometimes you will be the first, the only, and it sucks. And sometimes you have to say, you know what, this is not what I want to do, but I'm gonna somehow make this into something that's gonna help me further down the line. And so that's really what I will say. Like, as you grow in your career, there's gonna be things that you hated in the past, and you're going to be talking about it on a podcast years later, and be like, oh, okay, that did build my character, that did help me with leadership, or that person I worked with now works at this amazing company. So that's always something to take into consideration too, is like, never take any experience for granted, no matter how little it is.
And I'm here and I'm taking notes. And I heard you say something about writing a book. So
Oh,
I see that in your future. Uh,
oh,
but
thank you.
but what I see right in front of me is, I don't know where you are. And I'm trying to really figure out, what is this space? It's beautiful, right? I mean, there are clouds in the sky, the sun is shining down. Clearly, I'm trying to see if there's any snow on the ground. Doesn't look like there's any snow, so we're in a nice and warm climate. So
Okay,
it's either
I will
we're in.
give you, I can give you a hint.
Okay,
I don't know if it will help, but I took this photo.
okay,
And I took this photo a few months ago. I think
that is
actually
helpful.
2 months ago. So that could help if you remember where it was when we talked. Haha. Well, not when we talked, but
Where
yeah.
you were heading. Oh,
Yeah, because I didn't travel that much this year. But that is like the biggest clue.
You know what's funny is I had someone else on the show who travels for work. She was visiting Mexico, and I had remembered that from our conversation. And because I remembered, I was able to guess where she was rather quickly. But I can't say that I remember. But what I know 2 months ago is it was snowing. It was cold, and so this can't be Chicago. Um, I'm gonna take a guess to say, are you on the West Coast?
Yes. See, that helped because I said 2 months ago, so you have to know. Yep. See, that's yep. So I was telling you, that was the biggest clue. That was the biggest clue.
I may remember where you were 2 months ago, but I've already taken my guess. So it's only fair that you're able to take your and you already know where I'm
I
at.
said
This is
Paris, and I said it's not Versailles. So is it? No, it's not. I've been to Versailles.
this is not Versailles. No.
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, can I just guess like what happens in there?
Sure. Yes,
It
that's
okay.
yeah.
It's giving me opera vibes. So I'm thinking opera. Yes, opera. It
It is
definitely looks like a opera like building. So that's I'm gonna guess that.
we are in an opera house. Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay. See?
Yes, and let me tell you a little bit more about this place. Let me give you a little clue, okay? So, this place was commissioned by Emperor Napoleon III, so not Napoleon himself, but his nephew, in 1861, and it took 14 years to complete. And I'll tell you, this place is gorgeous because there were lots of photos for me to choose from, and it was a really hard choice, but I had to choose this one.
History was not my strongest suit, so thank you for sharing that information, but that does not help me at all. I said like listen, I said Paris and Opera House. I'm surprised I got this far. So I'm proud of myself.
I mean, you're in an opera house in Paris. The only next step is to guess which opera house in Paris I'm in.
Well, I can't use Google because if I could use Google, I would guess it.
So, I was thinking to myself, how long will I allow you to suffer before I tell you that you can use Google? But not until we answer our next question.
Okay.
Okay. So, describe the moment, or if there was a series of moments in your life when you realized that you had a lot of valuable things to say. And when did you learn how to trust your own voice?
So for me, it started happening when I think it was when I finally got like the senior in my title. And it was when I started working as a senior marketing manager at a nonprofit. And at that really gave me like full ownership over a ton of part programs, like end to end, like campaign, like execution strategy all the way through. And it was I was like the marketing expert in the room. Like there was no one holding my hand. There was just, this like you create the budget, you go ahead, you do it. And so for me, I think for me, when there was money on the line, that's when I kind of started really being like, okay, like I know what I'm doing. And they're trusting me. But I will say when I really started trusting my own voice was during the pandemic. And so when you brought up Clubhouse, for me, Clubhouse was my opportunity to just get better at public speaking because I have a fear of public speaking. People don't believe it, and I noticed it a lot in business school because I was like I had to prep so much to do these presentations, etc. And so after business school, I didn't really present as much anymore. And so I was starting to lose that skill set, and I knew, I know I'm meant to be a speaker in some capacity. So, Clubhouse was my time to really get better at that. And I was going into different Clubhouse rooms, and I'm hearing people talk about marketing, and I'm like, this is basic knowledge. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is a genius, and they're on the stage, and everyone's like clapping, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so through Clubhouse, I just started getting on stages and, sharing like what I think about brand strategy. A lot of it was me sharing like personal branding on LinkedIn. And through that, I just started getting a ton of followers. I started networking more. And that's when I found my own voice. I was able to just talk like this. Before that, I always felt like I had to talk a certain way, in the STAR method. And especially coming from business school, everyone was just like the same, coming out, coming out, coming out. And so I always notice I say and like. And so taking courses on public speaking, it was always this, you need a lot of work. And then through Clubhouse, I realized people resonated with me. People liked my vulnerability, my relatability. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to be who I am. It works, keeping it.
All right. You're in California.
Yes. That's why I was laughing, because I'm like, how did you not know
We
that?
did talk about this.
Like, I was laughing because you're like, I lived in California for 8 years. And I'm just like, and you don't know. That's why I was like,
Never been to this place. I have no idea where we are right now. It looks like USC campus, like the off campus or something, or like a museum, or UCLA, or okay. So California's a big place,
it is.
but you were in Southern California, from my recollection. Is that true?
Yes.
Los Angeles, California.
No.
Okay. Okay, so you're not in Los Angeles, California. Interesting. All right. Well, I've taken my guess.
I don't have any more guesses for this opera theater in Paris. Um, Again, I've narrowed it down.
At this point, Google is your best friend. You are allowed to use Google on this show.
Yay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll multitask and go ahead and do it. Oh, I think I found it. Oh yeah. Is this it? No. Oh, I think this is it. No, 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 that's not it. Um, didn't find it yet. Mm-mm. Oh, here it is. Okay, it is the Pala. Oh, I can't even say it. Uh, Palace Garnier.
Palace,
Say that.
the Palace Garnier.
Yes. Oh,
I
I
don't know.
mean, it is. It's the name and the image goes with it. So yeah.
Yes. I'm totally impressed right now. And also a little embarrassed because this is probably the third episode where um, I'm still left guessing. So, this,
Really?
yes. So I'll tell you why I chose this place. Obviously, it's an opera house, so it has to do a lot about expressing your voice. And I think opera is one of those things. When I was younger, if I were to be a singer, I would have been an opera singer for sure. Like big vocals in my family. Um, but I would love to visit this place someday. I think it's really beautiful. Again, this is just one image of many gorgeous images of this place. And I think opera and theater is a great way to learn how to express yourself. And so that's why I chose this place.
Okay. Well, I definitely am gonna have it on my list of places to visit. I love Paris. I don't speak French. If I did, I'd probably live there or travel there more.
On your third visit to Paris, definitely stop by this place.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay. So, what role would you say that self expression has played in the development of your personal brand?
Um, a lot. My personal brand that is my two cents. It's a play on words. My 2 cents. Family nickname of mine is Tutu, so my two cents. I feel like it's self-explanatory, but yeah. And so I usually give like my two cents on brand strategy in pop culture and everyday life. And so that really grew during the pandemic, I was just, trying to do some fun, and that really grew. That really like kind of grew my personal brand. It also grew because I was looking for a job, and I gravitated towards LinkedIn, and I wanted to be more active on LinkedIn. And so I just, tried to find a way to use, create content that sounded like me and was interesting and engaging, but knowledgeable and fun. And so for me, my personal voice has helped me. Growing my voice helps me to just build my brand, build my network, and get a lot of opportunities, not just from landing jobs, but also from speaking opportunities. And it also was how I started my own business, because I was really active on LinkedIn, and a lot of people liked reading what I wrote. So I think that answers the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're actually going to get into some more details about specifically how young professionals can go about leveraging LinkedIn to
Yeah.
build their brand. Um, but right now, I have plenty of guests. I'm going to take my time, okay? Because listen, we got a few more
You're so
questions.
close. You said like you should know where it, like you said enough.
But okay, but we said it's not Los Angeles, but it's
Is
San
it?
Diego,
No.
too far south.
Yeah.
So
I
give me another
think
clue,
so.
a hint about this
Maybe
place.
it's not. Maybe it's not count as Southern Cal. Maybe it's not. I don't want to tell you it's Southern Cal. It's not Southern Cal. I think it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Another clue. You mentioned it being a. It's a. It's another. It's a popular city.
Okay.
But it's not LA. Um.
Okay.
If you do, yeah, it's a popular city. Not as popular as LA. You see, it's warm.
Hmm.
Um. Don't really know what other clues I can give.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull up
Maybe
a
it's not.
map.
Maybe it's not Southern Cal. Sorry, I should know, but I think it counts, right? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So we are in Southern California, but it's not as far as San Diego.
No, it's I can't because the thing is I don't know. I need it. I guess.
You can pull up a map.
Yeah,
You can pull up a map.
yeah.
And while you do that, I'm gonna give you, because I've already guessed, I'll give you some time. I'm gonna ask the next question.
Okay.
All right. So sometimes self expression isn't always easy, especially when what you have to say defies the status quo. Tell us about a time when you expressed an unpopular opinion. What was the situation? How did you approach it? And what was the result?
So, I feel like I feel like the only thing that really comes to mind right now is I don't believe in applying to jobs. And I feel like people will debate me on that. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that. That I think applying to jobs is like literally like putting together, like literally like spending time submitting an application for a job is just a waste of mental energy. When you actually talk to recruiters and you ask them how they're finding candidates, 9 times out of 10, they say LinkedIn.
Mm.
If you talk to candidates, people that have a lot of jobs, oh, how'd you get your job at this big company? Oh, a recruiter reached out to me through LinkedIn. So while I think it's, go ahead and do your thing, but if you had to put all the eggs in one basket in order to get your next opportunity, I don't think it is applying to jobs. I haven't applied like physically to a job, like cold applied to a job in years. And I've gotten interviews with top companies, like any company you could think of. I probably interviewed with them and I didn't apply, like
Mm.
Amazon, Under Armour, P&G, um, Facebook, like all the brands you can think of, and I did not apply.
Okay. So I am going to challenge you on this. I'm going to challenge your unpopular opinion. Not because I don't agree with it, because I actually do agree with it. More so because of the folks who are going to be watching this show, right? It it does take some legwork to get to that point, in my
It's
personal opinion.
it's
Maybe,
not.
maybe not. No. Okay, come on,
No,
break.
it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay,
That's the misconception there.
interesting.
So, net. I didn't say not to network.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, so basically, if I know that I am a recent grad and I'm looking for a job,
Okay.
I can spend 3 weeks applying to hundreds of jobs
True.
and land nowhere.
Right.
Or in those 3 weeks, I can find networking events to go to, organizations to become part of, and try to get connected with universities and hiring managers to get to make connections with people, to find out what opportunities are on the horizon, what opportunities are coming up, and to start building those frameworks. And then once, because a lot of jobs that are out there are not posted yet.
Hmm.
So that's what I say is, when you look at, if I have a month to land a job, it's better to go the network. It's better to go the all the tricks on LinkedIn. There's so many ways to actually get a stronger lead with a 1 month period than to, and less energy. Like I guess the thing is, when you look at all the energy you have, if I'm applying to jobs, how many of those applications are even touching a human's fingertips? But if I spend that month doing different, networking, going to events, building my personal brand, going, going to company events, signing up for going to conferences, going to national organization events, the likelihood, the amount of knowledge I would learn, the likelihood of me finding an opportunity is much greater.
Okay, so I'm gonna agree with you on that point because, and I can remember several times in my personal life when this was true, right? I remember when I was at USC, the first couple of internships I got was because there was a guest speaker who came into the class. Nobody else walked up to the guest speaker after the class
Exactly.
to pitch, right,
Yeah.
themselves for an internship. And I was one of the only ones who walked up and said, "Hey, I really enjoyed what you said. The culture at your company seems like it would be a great fit for me, and I want to know if you have internships available." And the answer was yes. Send me your resume. Right. In my head, that's still applying for the job, but I
Yeah.
can see what you
Yeah.
mean by it's different from searching for jobs and spending hours crafting your resume, refining your resume, and really kind of crossing your finger, hoping, wishing, praying that someone notices you in the pile, right?
Yeah, and if you, let's take it that same example,
Hmm.
if you didn't speak to that guest speaker and then you went home and you saw the opportunity and you submitted a resume for it,
Right.
you probably would not have that opportunity. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's just
True.
that whole, like, let me sit down and apply to 300 jobs, over the weekend, like that. I unpopular opinion, I don't believe in that. And I think once you start realizing that all of your mental energy to do that is more detrimental, you'll realize it's better to go the other route.
I'll also say when I started working at Google, I had recruiters from everywhere hitting me up. And so there is a point where I think you amass a certain level of experience, and I do think a lot of it rides on the name and the title of the company that you work for, which makes you it's somewhat more
That's
attractive.
Again, I
Okay,
can combat that because I gave someone advice recently, and
okay,
they were a student at NYU, looking to get an opportunity, and I gave them some LinkedIn tips. The biggest one I always say is engage. If you
hmm,
are following a recruiter, you're following a company you're really interested in, 9 times out of 10, they're posting that they're hiring as a post on LinkedIn,
true.
and no one comments on that post. If
Mm,
you comment on that post, if you start following that person, if you start engaging with that person, you will get you'll get a conversation. That person did exactly what I said, and a week later they had an interview.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, like it's literally no one ever responds to that. Hey, I'm hiring. Apply here. No one ever writes a comment there, like, to that post.
You are dropping some gems,
Yeah,
and these are
it's just
secrets.
saying, like, and because think about it right now, no one is that recruiter is getting a bunch of DMs, right?
Mm,
And so everyone's doing that, which I still am an advocate with that. But if you are commenting on that recruiter's post, that not only is that recruiter going to see that comment, but other people are going to see that comment too.
mm,
So it does leave, it attracts people to your profile.
mhm.
So yeah.
Now, okay, so before we get too far, because we are going to talk about, right, some practical things young professionals can do to leverage LinkedIn in this way. And really what we're talking about is, okay, well, once you've made that initial introduction, they're going to visit your profile. So what does it look like, right? We're going to get to that. Before we get to that, I want to take a break and I want to guess where you are.
Okay, so it is not, so it is, it's more, it's above Los Angeles. Sorry. I always get confused.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. It's not, it does not, I guess, count as Southern Cal. It's above LA. It's above. So
Okay.
I think
It,
you'll get it now.
it's above Los Angeles, but it's still Southern California. Fair? Like
Is
it's not
it?
Northern California.
No,
Cali-
it's not northern. It's
right.
not northern.
California is a very big
That's
state.
the thing. Yeah. So that's why I'm like,
Forget.
it's not northern, but it's
Okay.
not. It's above LA. But you
Okay.
can drive from LA to this place.
Okay. Well, so I have four good guesses, right?
That's the
Which is
first
great
one.
because I have about three more questions for you.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask them, I'm going to guess them all. Are we in Pasadena?
No.
We're not in Pasadena.
I really thought you would have gotten this by now.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
I thought this was I don't know why I thought this was I when I saw it I thought like it was very I thought it was gonna be really easy, so I'm happy. Yeah. Okay.
Because this is not the Griffith Observatory. That's
No.
because there
No.
aren't
No.
any big trees around. I'm stumped. I really am. I'm stumped. But it's okay because we've got some more questions to ask.
Okay.
So here's a statistic, okay? It's a little bit long, so if you need me to repeat anything, let me know. So the statistic is for some young professionals, the challenges of the past year have opened a door to more authentic expression and connection in the workplace. Because so many people were struggling with mental health in the workplace and at home, it was more acceptable to talk about personal stressors. As a result, 39% of people said they're more likely to be their full, authentic selves at work, and 31% feel less embarrassed or ashamed when their non work life shows up at work. And this is according to Microsoft's Work Trend Index. What are your thoughts? What are your reactions to these numbers?
They're not surprising. I feel like the pandemic caused a big shift in bringing your whole self to work. With having to work from home, having to everything, family life, errands, whatever you're going through, having to emerge during this time. I think that a lot of barriers were broken down, and so for me, the percentage makes sense that it's not it's growing, but it's also not extremely large because you know when it's Microsoft doing this study, so it's like they're looking at just people at different ranges in their careers, looking in the corporate space as well as maybe in the like tech and startup space. So I think when you look at it from all industries, it makes sense because there are still industries where you don't feel like you can bring your whole self to work, or you do have to have this corporate mask on, in a sense. There are professions like that I don't think will change, like legal, healthcare, and so forth. But then I do think there are industries that have really been able to become more comfortable in those spaces, especially I would say tech. um and a lot of startups too. So,
Wise words.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, I got it. Okay. I said there were four places. I already guessed Pasadena. We were not
Come on,
there.
you're so close. I know you know it. Oh wait. I did not think this was gonna be this hard. I thought this was like a very common place. You know, I was like, oh, this is pretty when I passed by it.
So you passed by it and then you got out of the car to scope it out? Or did you choose this place? Did you just see it or was this a destination for you?
I was walking. Okay, I'll give another clue. I was walking along a campus, and this was nearby it.
So I was gonna say UCLA.
No, 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 no. Much smaller. It is not in. I said it's above LA. It's above. It's another city above LA. It's a city above LA. There's only
Glendale.
no, no, no. Oh no. It's more. I said it's popular. Like I visited it, so I would not visit Glendale. It's not LA. Get out of like that Southern Cal. I feel like I have to say
Santa Clarita.
close. No, but not that. Not that. Um, you have.
Okay.
I feel like it's. I feel like I have to. I feel like. Okay. It's an area where it's an area. Okay, so I'll give a clue. So a basketball team used to play in one area and they moved it to another, right?
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
not that area, but it's very close to that area.
A basketball team. So a basketball team? Oh
I
man.
mean, the a championship winning basketball team.
I mean, that's the Golden State Warriors, but that's
Okay, so that's right. Okay, so where were they? Where are they now? Where did they move to?
oh.
But it's not there, but it's near
I'm
there.
not sure, but I'm going to Google it
Okay.
and then I'm going to give you an answer
But it's not
after.
there. It's next to there.
Okay, I got you. I
Sorry,
got
I'm a big basketball fan. I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
you. Google to the rescue. So you said Golden State Warriors moved to this place
Yeah, I
recently.
think they are. Yeah, yeah, because they're not. Yeah, they're
They're
not in Oakland anymore. They're gonna move to.
San Francisco.
Yes. So what's the city there? San Francisco.
This
That
is
has.
Northern California.
Oh, sorry. I thought this didn't count as Northern California. Oh, okay.
And it's funny because you said you can drive there. And I was like, well, you can drive to Northern California, but would I? I have driven to Northern California. Actually, PCH 1 is a beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous drive. I recommend if anyone has a week in California and you're just kind of out there, out and about, definitely visit, definitely take PCH. You can either take it from Southern California, Northern California, or you can do the reverse. But it's a very breathtaking traveling experience. So okay, so I'm gonna pause because now we're in Northern California. So now I need to reset a little bit. A little
Right, because
reset.
I guess I didn't consider the Bay Area Northern California. Like, but I guess it
Mhm.
is. Okay, so then yeah, it is in Northern Cal. Well, as I said, I was like, listen,
I see what you mean, right? Because technically if you actually look at a map, the Bay Area is kind of like middle Northern California. It's
yeah, and
not the
so
most
yes,
northern.
and I
Yeah.
know, like to me, I consider like Sacramento Northern California. So
Okay.
that's why I didn't. So I
And
was like, I don't know, and I didn't want to say the Bay because then I thought you were gonna get it. But I guess it's the. This isn't the. Come on, this.
and this is where I used to live? Is that what you were saying?
No, you lived in California for 8 years,
Yeah.
so I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she'll
And I
know.
lived in San Jose.
It's in San Jose. That's why I thought you were gonna get it immediately. So I was like, maybe, but yes, So you've never seen this in the time, so it must be new.
You know what's funny is I'm looking at it and I'm wondering, when I saw it, it felt familiar, but I can't pinpoint it. I don't know where this is.
It's basically. Oh wait, never mind. I'll
I'll
keep.
ask another question and then you can reveal it. How about
Okay,
that?
but
Sounds
yes,
good.
it's San Jose. I was remember how we talked about being too close to something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing? Right? So we started off this show with two things in common. And now we're, almost at the end. And we've realized that we have something else in common. I used to live in San Jose and you visited San Jose. That's really
yeah, and
cool.
I visit. My sister lives in San Jose. That's what I was like when we had talked. I mentioned I was going there. I just came back. So yeah, so
Okay.
that's why I was like, I recently went there when we chatted.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, so let's ask this question. Okay. So you've kind of answered my next question, but I want to get us, I want to get more specific because, like I said, I'm taking notes. I'm going to share this interview with some folks because they need to hear this. I've taken the L. I've accepted that I am wrong. My idea about how to apply for jobs in this here 2023 has been all wrong. And so I want you to share with us, what are some practical steps that young professionals can take to leverage LinkedIn to get job opportunities? And let me just rehash some of the things we already said because I want you to give us some new stuff, okay? So we talked about updating our LinkedIn profile. You might want to get a little into details of what does that actually look like.
Okay.
I know that a lot of young professionals, they want to be more active on LinkedIn. They want to, like, you because you talked about posting articles and writing content, and they want to create content but they don't know quite what to say, right? So maybe we can touch on that a little
Yep,
bit.
I can talk about that.
We talked about commenting on recruiters posts, but of course in order to comment on recruiters posts we have to connect with them first, right?
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay, well, let me pause here and I'm gonna pass the mic.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna backtrack it. Well, first, LinkedIn is a social network. I know it doesn't feel like one, but so you want to engage on the platform. So only about like 90, I want to say like 1% of people on LinkedIn actually create content. So you can create content, but you don't have to. But whether you realize it or not, when you're engaging in a post, like commenting on a post, that is that's you creating content in that way too. So I would say the biggest thing is to first, like, think about the spaces you want to be in, whether it's, what companies you want to, work for, who are some thought leaders in spaces, anyone that's really active on LinkedIn, and start engaging with their content. So all you need to do is follow them. You don't need to be connected with them. Once you start engaging with their content, they're not even going to realize that you're just following them. They're going to think you're connected. And so what I like to do is, when I started doing this, I would just start following certain people and engaging, and then send a connection request after they've seen my face a couple of times. Um, in terms of how to get started, definitely your profile needs to be something that is one, it needs to be full. Like the banner, please have a banner and have it be, don't overthink it. There's Canva, there's so many free tools out there, but have a banner that just speaks to your personal brand. Whether it's a city, you could have this like as your banner for a little bit. You can have, any, like, art or anything that you're really interested in, that could be your banner, but that will help you stand out and just give you a full profile as well. Your about section is really important because people read it. You want it to be something that is all encompassing into who you are and what you like, what you do, and what you're looking for. Just so you know, LinkedIn is treated as a personal website. Microsoft owns LinkedIn, so the SEO is extremely high. So when you Google your name, the first thing that comes up is LinkedIn. So the more keywords you have on your profile, the more that you will be able to be found in search. So you want to treat it that way as well. The last thing I'll say is, a lot of people kind of, a lot of a lot of people have stopped creating portfolios. And I want to say like a year or two ago, someone that was, about to graduate, she reached out to me because she was working at an agency, something LinkedIn related. But I say this just because I went to her profile and she had a portfolio on her page. And I went to her portfolio and her work was immaculate. And it gave her so much credibility. And I was just like, I haven't seen a portfolio in years. So if you can create a portfolio and put it on your profile, and actually use that so that you can see who's looking at your profile, who's looking at your portfolio, and use that to just track leads in a sense, that will help you a lot too. I just think a lot of people don't really think about LinkedIn as a website and something that can tell a story, but you don't have to start out creating content. Just engage. I know a lot of people that just engage and they've been able to land opportunities that way too.
I love what you're saying about content is engagement. And sometimes we overthink it, right? We're like, oh man, I have to write an article. It needs to be 1,000 words and it needs to be
No,
spell check, fact check, put through chat GPT. And the reality is when you comment on someone's post, that's content.
it is.
Um, and I'm learning from you because it's funny that you're talking about this strategy because that's how I reached out to you to come on the show. You were commenting and liking on some of my posts. I was like, wait, do I know this person? And then I reached out and we got on the call and I was like, "Oh, I remember you from Clubhouse." And that was a couple
Years
years
ago,
ago.
yeah, yeah, because exactly, and that's that that familiarity and that authenticity. Because once you start commenting, and this is the biggest thing too, I want to say,
Mm,
do not have like great post, good point. Like that's not the commenting you want. But then you don't also want the commenting that shows that you're commenting to comment.
right.
But have it be authentic. Have it be like, I never thought of that. It reminds me of a time, something of that sort, because that is what's really going to that's gonna what's gonna be memorable. And that's kind of how you reach out. That's how you kind of just start engaging on LinkedIn. Think about when you're on Instagram and you like something and you're just, commenting on it. Have fun with it. And I feel like a lot of people don't have fun on LinkedIn because they're scared about what other people are going to think.
Mm.
And I always say, if they care that much, they don't care that much. I'm sorry. Like they don't. And so you're missing out on opportunities because you care about what your boss from 4 years ago might think about that one comment you're writing on Janice's page. Your boss, that person doesn't even care.
Well, you have shattered my belief system about what it means to apply. So I want to have gratitude and say thank you because I'm like, I might go to my LinkedIn and put my portfolio, show up some of the websites that I've designed and built, and some of the work that I've done, because it's true. Like it does add that extra layer of credibility when you can show the work, right? It's kind of like math, right? Like you
Yes.
get the right answer, your teacher say you still failed. Why? Because you didn't show your work. So when you show your work and you're showing that you're establishing that credibility through your work, it really does, and it makes you stand out because, as you mentioned, not everybody's doing it, right? And so if
Yeah.
you can find those little things that not everybody's doing and find those pathways, that's a way to really stand out. So with this being said, we're here on our final question, but before we get to it, I want you to reveal where in San Jose you are.
This is in downtown San Jose, and this is the City Hall Rotunda.
Okay.
So it's funny because they do music at this place too, but it's really close to San Jose State University. So I was walking through San Jose State University and I saw this and I was like, that's an amazing building. And I liked the circles and I took a photo of it because I was like, oh, this looks like it wouldn't be here. Like it looks like it'd be in like another state or like another country, like a London or something. So yeah, but it was, I mean, right in your neighborhood.
And you,
Yeah, and
you
the fun fact is I took this photo. So I thought that was really cool too.
what's funny about this is I've been to San Jose State University numerous times. Like I've been to Phil's Coffee there. I've spent a lot of time on that campus. So, thank you for bringing me back to this place because it is a place that's very near and dear to my heart. And I'm glad that you were able to experience it and that you found as you were walking through that it really sparked some inspiration in you that you're like, hey, I have to take a picture. By the way, this is a gorgeous photo.
You.
And I mean, you're a marketer, but maybe photography is you might want to take
Yeah,
that.
I recently got a Google Pixel and I'm like I feel like I'm a full-blown photographer now. I started doing photos. I'm on Google what is it called? Google Maps? What is it called?
Mhm.
Google Photos? I guess you can like post your photos on places in there.
Yeah.
And so I'm now I'm a contributor.
Oh, cool.
A fun hobby I picked up recently.
And that's a new way to use your voice, right?
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Cool. Okay, so final question, and this is a question that we ask everyone on this show. How would you describe success?
Ooh, yeah, that one I would say success is it's not it's about just being at a place of happiness, I think. Being at a place where you're able to be really happy and content and flourishing in your life. I think that's what success is because you can have all the money in the world and just not be happy. And I don't think that that's success. I think success is just being in a place where you're like, I honestly think having a brand that's monetized so that there are multiple streams of income constantly coming to you. That's how I think that's what success is. Success is where you your brand speaks for itself. Your brand is a constant revenue generator. Your brand is something that no matter what space you're in, it's going to be profitable, it's going to add value, and you're going to be impactful. So to me, that's what I see as like true success. It's not something that diminishes, but is always growing exponentially.
Um, Thank you so much for joining us, Ramatu. And this has been you've shattered again my belief system about how to apply for jobs, about how to use my own voice, and really like taking some of the pressure off of me to always be out here creating content. And the reality is engagement is a really powerful way to make connections and to advance in your career. And so thank you for giving us that permission to engage more on LinkedIn and for sharing your presence with us. And I can't wait for us to continue the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, with that being said, this is the end of the show, and we'll be back tomorrow with a new episode. See you.
Awesome. Bye.